My name's Eric Wordweaver Sjerven, Goalie of the Ridgar folk here in East Texas. I'd like to welcome you to the Raven's Call. This is a show where I share some of my own random thoughts and interpretations, some Heathenry 101 stuff, some more advanced things, but the subjects are all heathen related, and you can look back through the videos if you want to figure out what heathenry is, but I'm feeling if you found this video, you probably already know. So today what I want to talk about, just very, very briefly, is the concept of worth and integrity. Okay? This is something that in a conversation with a dear friend of mine here not long ago, he brought up the point that integrity and worth are not the same thing. And I thought, this is actually something that I completely agree on, and I have for years, and I'd like to share it with people and kind of explain my own thoughts on it. He and I kind of batted the idea back and forth for a little while, and developed it a bit. But so this is kind of my take on things and how I see things. You will obviously develop your own, but this is kind of where my mind is on things. And here's the deal. Integrity is from the inside and worth is from the outside. Worth itself is a byproduct of, or a direct result of the social contract. It is a product of the social contract, if for lack of anything better. Essentially what it means is that worth is assigned to an individual within a social construct in accordance to that individual's compliance to and exceeding of the expectations of the social contract. The rules that are set out within a social construct are sometimes ambiguous, sometimes set in stone, but they're there nonetheless. And you know what it is. You know what's going to get you kicked out of a group. You know what's going to get you in. And worthing into a group is showing this group that you can play by their rules, that you are good, you are strong, you have value to bring to the table. Okay? Worth itself is the recognition of that value. It is, take for example, if we were going to look at currency, okay? A dollar bill. Okay, simple dollar bill. What is it worth? Well, it depends on what it buys. It varies, Ultimately speaking, if I'm not from America and I have no concept of money, it has no worth to me whatsoever. Worth is assigned. Because I come from America and I know kind of what I can do with that dollar, I assign a certain worth to that. Now it has an intrinsic value. Again, that's tied to the worth. It's a set upon social contract aspect. The value of this dollar is established within the economy. The worth of it to me is in the hours it takes to earn it, the buying power that it has. There's a lot that goes into this. And it is a piece of currency. Okay. Now this is way, way oversimplified because we're talking about human beings. We're not talking about currency. We're not talking about exchange rates and all this. We're talking about an individual that comes to the table and illustrates to you that they have value to you. And your recognition of that is to establish their worth to the tribe. This is what you are worth to me. Okay? The fostering process for our tribe, the worthing process for a number of other tribes, is exactly that process. It is going through and showing that you have value to this tribe, and then the completion of that process is them to say, yes, indeed, we recognize your worth, we assign this value to you, and you are indeed important to us, and we want you because of this worth that you have to the tribe. Whether it's emotional worth, whether it's productive worth, whatever the source of it is, they have worth to the tribe, and you want them in because of it. Integrity is something else. Integrity is that internal value that you know you have. Okay? The worthing process is the process of translating integrity to worth. It is equating, it's balancing the scales. Okay? The worthing process to enter into a tribe, at least the fostering process for us, let me speak from the Ridgar standpoint, because that's really the only thing I'm an expert on. From the Ridgar standpoint, when you enter into fosterage, we put you on the scale and we put the worth that is needed to enter the tribe on the scale. And what you do is you pour as much of your integrity onto that scale as possible to even the scale out and assign that worth. That's the thing. We are trying to make the worth that we recognize. We recognize that you are worth this. And what you're trying to say is, this is what I have inside, and this is what I'm really worth. You guys need to see that and assign that value. So there's the value that you have, and then the societal assigned value. And when you can get the two to jive and you get them on the same level, that's where harmony exists. That's where you end up with the proper amount of recognition within the tribe, comfort, and you will be happy within the tribal structure. I think a lot of times frustration occurs when people recognize more integrity in themselves than necessarily the tribe recognizes. And similarly, there's fallout when the tribe assigns more worth to an individual than they have integrity to back it up. They expect a great deal more out of that person than they are actually willing or capable of paying out on. Again, there's some complicated stuff you can get into. And this is an oversimplification on this video in order to be able to put it into a bite-sized bit to put onto YouTube. But the gist is this, that worth and integrity are two separate things. Worth is a product of the social contract. Integrity is your actual intrinsic value. It is within you. You decide, you recognize this. Okay? It's not something you just really decide. You go through life and you learn who you are. And through your own experiences and through your own adventures and your trials and your tribulations, you know what you bring to the table. At least you're working on it. Not everybody knows that. They're still trying to figure it out. Your integrity, your own value, your own sense of your value is why you protect your reputation and with your deeds and with your actions. Because you don't want to be known as a liar, because you know deep inside you're not a liar. You don't do things that'll let you be perceived as a thief, because deep inside you know you're not a thief. You know you're a good man. You know you're an honest man or a good woman, an honest woman. And you try to act in a way that shows the outside world what's in here. That is the whole process of worthing. When you judge someone's worth to the tribe, when you judge someone's worth upon meeting them, and yes, judgment is indeed a responsibility of the individual. I will do an entirely different video on that. Stay tuned for that, but it is very important. Yes, judgment is a responsibility of the individual. I will do an entirely separate video on that. We'll come back to it. But when you judge someone's worth, you're looking at their deeds, you're looking at their actions. Just like I said in my previous video, we are our deeds. You are looking at those deeds, looking at those actions, and you are assigning value in relation to your own tribe, your own people. Keep that in mind. Worth is not a set number. It's not a set value. Worth is variable. It fluctuates. It's relative. Worth is relative. Integrity is not. That's you. That's it. Okay? Your worth is relative to the individuals that you are dealing with. Okay? Now, to my tribe, I am of great worth because of what I bring to the table and what I do for them, what we do together, what we have built together. I have great worth within my tribe, to my tribe. Now, to Joe Blow in California, who has never met me, not you, Hawk, somebody else, Joe Blow. To Joe Blow in California, who has never met me, has entirely different viewpoints than me, doesn't even think about heathenry the way I think about heathenry, I have no worth to this man whatsoever. None. And that's okay, because worth is relative. To my dear friends, I illustrate through actions and deeds that I am of great worth to them. To everybody else in the Utgard, it's not worth it for me to establish my worth to them, because their worth to me has not been established. You find yourself proving your worth to people that you recognize worth in. That's a give and take kind of thing. Not only, again, if you go back to my other video about reciprocal responsibility within the social contract, herein is a bit of that, in that you have a responsibility to establish your worth to people that you wish to enter a social contract with, and you wish to enter the social contract with them because you recognize their worth. So you establish your worth by translating your integrity through action into worth relative to the tribe and independent of everyone else. It is strictly a relationship between you and the individual, the tribe that you're dealing with. It is relative to this situation. Okay? Someone I find absolutely worthless, someone I would count as an outlaw, may well have very, very heavy weight, heavy worth to his family. But to me, he's lower than pond scum. I can think of a few. And I know it to be true, that on some level, they have great worth to someone, just not to me. And probably never will. And that's okay, because you don't have to be worthy to everyone. You only have to be worthy to the people that really matter. Prove your worth to your Inengard, and then to the folk community with which you wish to build relationship. You want tribal allies? Establish worth. You want new tribe members? Establish worth. You want just friends? Establish worth. We do that all of the time. People don't even realize it. Most of these heathen social structures are still in place, but people don't realize that we've been doing them forever. Whenever you've got somebody that comes in, think about it. You're hanging out with the buddies, right? And Joe Bob decides that he's going to invite his buddy Dale out, and he's never been before, right? He's never been out to one of these events. She's never been out to, and I'm not talking about heathen, I'm just talking about straight friend group, okay? Poker night at Joe Bob's place. And Joe Bob brings in somebody that you don't know. Suddenly everything's disrupted because there's somebody in the group that you don't know. You don't know what kind of person they are. You don't know if you can trust them, any of that. And so things are unsettled for a while until finally they show you they can be trusted. They establish their worth to you. They translate their integrity into worth. Now, it varies as to how much that is necessary, how deep that is necessary. A new friend in the group, maybe not necessarily as intensive a process as, say, worthing into a tribe, but it can be, because the friend groups are just as much the modern tribe as the social contracts that we establish here, just less formal. So we've all seen it, we've all done it. We've all established our worth to people. I mean, heck, what is dating if not the attempt to establish one's worth to another while assessing their worth at the same time? First dates are full of all sorts of social contract do's and don'ts and blah, blah, blah. The entire thing of a first date is to establish, is this person worthy of my time? And just in case they are, I need to show them that I am worthy of theirs. So you've got multiple different levels at play, all in the same interaction in a fairly short amount of time. First impressions are huge, and this is why. Because you are establishing worth. Most of us make a decision on someone's worth within the first 5 minutes of meeting them. It's pretty simple. Yes, I pulled that number out of the air. Don't go checking. But it is usually, from my experience, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you've made a decision. I would find a lot of people make their decision the minute they see someone. They make a judgment on them, and then as soon as that person opens their mouth, it either confirms or destroys the judgment that you made on first sight. You can look at somebody and go, oh, this guy's bad news. I can't trust him. Then he opens his mouth and you go, yep, that's what I thought. I don't trust you. Or maybe I judged this guy wrong. Let's take a look. But it doesn't take long to establish that. Okay? That's why interactions after that have to make up for that first impression sometimes. That's why first impressions are so important. They burn in that element in the judging of worth. And then sometimes, depending on how you put yourself out there to make that first impression, to translate your integrity and have it adequately equated to worth, can be an uphill struggle if you didn't do yourself any favors in the initial impression. So, once again, pulls right back around to the whole worth aspect. It exists in all levels of society. It exists across the board. It's what we do. That's how human interaction works. We establish worth by translating our integrity into worth, and then we judge the worth of others, trying to discern, what are they showing me regarding their own integrity. So, because I can't judge your integrity, I can only judge your worth. Only you know what your integrity is. Okay? So, simple as that. Think about your actions. Think about how they translate your integrity into a communicable language. Because that's what deed is, essentially. It's a language between individuals. It's just a concrete, real language versus, say, words, which aren't necessarily concrete. They're ephemeral. Actions are concrete. Actions are real. They're set in the real world. They're recorded into the well of weird. Words are more ephemeral. Sometimes words get translated in, sometimes they don't. It depends on the power and the weight behind them, but a lot of words just simply evaporate into vapor and don't necessarily get recorded in the well. Great words, good words, strong words, sworn words, things like that. Those bear weight. Those get recorded. Actions always get recorded because actions can't be undone, They're set, they're there. And don't get me wrong, again, in my whole We Are Our Deeds thing, I went into how words themselves are deeds. Speaking, not words, speaking is a deed because it's a willful action of translation of thought into vocal projection. Put something out in the real world. So those are real things. Deeds. So think about your words, think about your actions. How does that translate your integrity to someone else so that when they judge your worth, they'll see the real you inside. So anyway, I can ramble on for a long time on that one. I'm going to let this one go. But please, if you like today's video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, maybe shoot a comment down in the comment section. Did you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How do you see it? Maybe some anecdotes on how you perceive your integrity being misconstrued by others in establishing worth. And then how we can go about trying to even those scales so that they can see the true worth that should be assigned to you because it needs to match this integrity. So hit us up. I've also got a Facebook group called Word Weaver Productions. It's Word-Weaver Productions on Facebook. It's an open group. Please join in. This is how I get a lot of my information. It's how I get a lot of my feedback. I also share my videos up there. This one's The Raven's Call. I also have another show called Weaving Words where I go through and do some storytelling aspects. You'll find that in another playlist on my channel here, or I pop those things up again on Word Weaver Productions. So without any further ado, thank you. Have a good day.